The Ink and Paint Club podcast is intended for mature audiences only, so don't tell your parents! Listener discretion is advised.
In the morning, wide awake for the day, and I say, what a morning, it's all okay.
You're listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast, your weekly home for animation reviews and discussions.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. I know it's been a few weeks since we've been here, but everything is awesome because we're talking about the LEGO Movie 2, the second part today. I am your host JD, and with me is Kyle.
Yo, it feels like it's been 2 weeks.
I know, it has in fact been 2 weeks.
Wow, that's wild.
And also joining us is Matt.
Hello again.
Hooray! The gang's all here. And yeah, like I said, we're here to talk about the sequel to the LEGO Movie, not LEGO Batman or the Ninjago, but a proper sequel to the LEGO Movie. And I don't know about you guys, but I think this might be one of those rare cases where the sequel lives up, if not maybe slightly surpasses the original. I don't know about you guys, but
I enjoyed it a great deal. I don't know if I did watch the original LEGO Movie just before going out to see the sequel, and I did enjoy it a lot. It was very good, but I don't know if it surpasses the original. Like it still retains the same charm and everything, but I feel just in terms of like overall plot elements and everything else, because of course the style is mostly the same, but overall like plot and stuff, I feel like the original's still a bit better.
okay. Kyle, what about you?
I felt it was better. I've seen the first one twice, and I think I can live the rest of my life without seeing the first one over again.
So yeah, this sequel takes. I feel like you could take the first movie and immediately start the second one, and they could pretty much flow seamlessly.
Yeah, it does.
Into one another.
Literally takes place right at the end of the first. Although I mean, there is a time skip, but they literally pick up the action.
But yeah. So at the end of the first movie, the Duplo invaders come down to the Lego City.
Brickopolis.
And it's like, oh my god, we have to fight these Duplo aliens. And then the second movie picks up right where that left off, so...
Yeah, you gave them 5 years and they turned everything into Mad Max, Fury Road. Or what the hell they called?
Apocalypseburg.
Apocalypseburg, that's what it was.
Yeah, everything goes Mad Max style, and then these very bright, sparkly aliens come down and kidnap the main gang aside from Emmett. And Emmett has to go on a space adventure to save his friends from the girly sparkle aliens.
The what the hell is the name of the...
From the Sistar system.
Sistar system, that's what it was. Yeah, that was a thing that they kept up from the first movie, is all the little funny naming conventions where it was all mispronunciations.
The fucking the bin of storage.
The bin of storage. The
Armamageddon.
Armamageddon. That's what it was. Armamageddon, and then
the dryer system, whatever that was.
Yeah, it's like the system of dryer. Something like that. It's just under the dryer.
And then the one of the new characters they introduced, Tiffany Haddish's character, Queen Whatever Wanabe.
Oh yeah.
Which is like, whatever you...
She's just a big shapeshifter.
Which, like, as far as the animation stuff goes, her character was very pleasing to see on screen, just like... Because, we were kind of mostly used to mini bricks and, like, the Duplo stuff in this movie, and what was the other one? The mini dolls. That's with the weird like legs. That's like
the Lego Friends models.
Yeah, so those are mini dolls. So like we see like Duplo mini dolls, and then the Brickmen, But yeah, the Queen's character just like shifting on screen with like real Lego blocks, like was really satisfying to watch. Like they did some really interesting stuff with her animation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like this one kind of stepped it up in terms of like, because obviously they're showing like way more kinds of different Lego models. I mean, you got like the actual raptors they use in like the Jurassic Park sets.
Yeah.
Obviously you got the Lego Friends models, and I feel like some of these models are based on like that Mixels line that they used to have.
Yeah.
That's what the aliens came off as.
Yeah. So I mean they're really going all over the place with you know, their Lego models and stuff, but I've always been impressed with the what?
Still no Bionicles.
You know what though? Unikitty's like big beast form reminded me of like a Bionicle. Like it had a lot of those same like sort of ball and joint pieces it looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's been interesting to watch how these Lego movies have evolved, and I love watching when people like do like slow freeze frames of, you know, action and movement in these things, and how everything is literally constructed out of bricks. Like I think the design philosophy they said they went for is like no movement in the movies are anything you couldn't do with actual Legos.
Yeah.
So anytime someone has like a smear, like a motion smear, it's actually Lego bricks built out to make a smear.
Which is honestly a really good call, like just design wise, because if you like look at the side by side with any other sort of animated Lego thing that came out before the first Lego movie, like any of the animation from like the Lego games, I always thought those looked really weird because they're like these like plastic pieces that are like bending around, like it always looked kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I mean that's been kind of the thing, or the.
Like it definitely looks better with the techniques that they're using here. Like it honestly fooled a lot of my friends who thought that, like at least with the first movie back when they didn't know any better, that they thought that a lot of that stuff was like real stop motion.
I was in that camp for a little bit of the first movie. It's like this honestly looks like stop motion because of the way it's lit and the way the texture on all the pieces is like exactly the way it is in real life.
Like they absolutely looked towards Lego stop motion short films as inspiration with how to animate and light everything. So
right,
yeah,
and I still think there might. I'm not 100%. I'd have to have someone confirm it, but I think there are still parts that they do in live action. Like
the little fight scene felt like it was stop motion.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, at the end. The one that stood out to me, at least in this movie, it was when they pop out of the stair gate.
Yeah.
When they come out of this like epic space warp, and they just go, and it's like just this little model on a string, and then it just like swings across the screen.
Yeah.
I was dying on that. It's like, oh my god. It's like, and I feel like this movie has a lot of that where it's like this giant, like it feels like it's building up to this giant thing, and it just goes.
Yeah.
It's like this really underwhelming thing.
I think because there's a lot more expectations now that, you know, people that saw the first movie know that the sort of plot of the movie is all just like being come up with by the kid that's playing with the Legos. So I think they kind of injected more of that element into the actual visual stuff with the sequel.
So that's something I want to ask you guys about, because in the first movie, they didn't reveal to the end of the movie, which I think what we said back in our review of the first movie, I think was really smart in the way that they didn't show their hand about, oh, this is actually a kid playing with Legos until the very end of the movie, which I thought was smart. But this movie, because now that you know that, I think it leaned into this is a kid playing with Legos and made it relevant to the plot. And I actually really like the way that they handled it. Like giving further context for why this whole Lego plot is going on. So I don't know how you guys felt about that.
I mean, I took it for what it was.
I mean, but did you like it? Did you not like it?
It was all right, JD. It worked for what it was.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be like, oh shit, no, they used too much a kid. Pre-order canceled. I'm done.
Okay then. Yeah, and I think this movie like is pretty consistent with the last movie. The humor between the 4 Lego movies so far, I like the Lego Batman was very like heavily relied on like Batman
Pop culture
references and stuff like that. Ninjago felt like tonally a little different. It felt a little more grounded in terms of its writing style, but I know Lord Miller didn't direct this movie, but I think they still wrote it.
They wrote it.
They had more part in this one than, and I know they had like a lot of involvement with Lego Batman too, but I don't know how involved they were with the Ninjago one. I think that one was more of a product of the people that actually worked on the Ninjago stuff prior, like the TV series and stuff, because they helped they helped write the first Lego movie. I think that's why they were kind of left to their own devices for that one. Actually, I haven't seen the Ninjago one, but I've been meaning to get around to see that one because I liked these 2 Lego movies and I liked Lego Batman. I think I might like Lego Batman the most of these movies.
I liked Lego Batman. I don't know if I would say I like it the most. I'm kind of teetering on the edge of which of the 2 Lego movies I like better. Then it would be Batman, and then it would be Ninjago. But that's not to say like any of these movies are bad. I actually like them a lot, and I'm glad that Warner Brothers has been sticking to this, to putting these movies out and keeping them pretty consistently like of good quality.
Yeah.
Would Batman count as a prequel?
Okay, so that's what I'm wondering.
I was kind of wondering that too.
I was talking to my wife, and we were trying to figure out on the way home from the movie. Does Lego Batman did that happen between movies, or is that like or does it take place after?
I think they pretty explicitly say like near the intro there, like Emmett sort of waves over to Batman and it's like, how was your last adventure? And I kind of assumed he was referring to the movie.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking that because what he says, it's like, oh, like I lost my family, but that's what the audiences wanted because people prefer gritty loner Batman.
Yeah. So I feel like this movie, it's like definitely a sequel to Lego Movie, but it's also kind of like a pseudo sequel to Lego Batman as well, because Batman does play an integral role in certain parts of this film, like a lot bigger than I thought that he was going to play too.
Yeah, and I did like the joke where I forget who he was talking to, but he's like, how many movies did they make about you? And he's talking about, it's like, I have this many movie and at least 4 in development.
Oh, that's I remember the joke. I don't remember who was saying it to either.
I forget who he's mouthing off to.
I think it was the pirate.
Oh, Metalbeard?
Yeah, probably.
It might have been.
Yeah, because I think they were trying to like argue about who's the leader.
That might have been it, yeah.
Because everyone's the special now.
There was a bit during that scene that had a little fun cameo of because they got them rounded up, and Harley Quinn, who I'm pretty sure was voiced by Margot Robbie in this, talking about how it was a suicide mission.
Yeah, because she's in her Suicide Squad outfit.
And then they also had Jason Momoa as Aquaman, who I think is the only DC Extended Universe character to voice himself in a Lego movie.
Well, I thought it was funny because they make the joke about, it's like, and all we have left is original series Aquaman.
And Larry Poppins, the offshoot of Mary Poppins. I say a spoonful of salts makes the medicine go down.
And I even love the joke where there's like, the Justice League is off in space and Marvel isn't returning our calls.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, there are Marvel Legos, but you can't use them because you have to pay royalty to Disney.
Yeah.
One thing I was disappointed is they had Cleopatra and it wasn't the Clone High voice.
Oh yeah, you think they would because of Lord and Miller.
That'd be really funny.
Hey,
if
listen,
they got it.
You know what? We at least got Clone High in the Spider-Man movie. Like just in terms of like getting them involved in
Well, they have Abraham Lincoln voiced by the same dude.
Oh yeah, because it's Will Forte.
Yeah.
Oh, do they? That's right. Oh shit.
That's why I was like, why wouldn't they do the same thing with her? But no, I was looking up the voice cast, because what you just said with Harley Quinn, I don't remember that part. I watched the whole movie. I was like, where the fuck is she?
It's like that bit, right? Like when they're opening the gate and like they have General Mayhem there.
Oh.
Yeah, they're just flashing to everybody.
They had Richard Ayoade, which is the guy from
the ice cream,
the IT crowd.
Right.
Yeah, he was the ice cream. And he's from the IT crowd, and then they had Noel Fielding as the vampire.
Balthazar. Balthazar, I think. But that was really good. I was glad to see him in that because I'm a big Mighty Boosh fan. So.
Yeah, I love the Mighty Boosh too.
Yeah. They had some returning voice cameos too. They had Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill back as Superman and Green Lantern. That's always pretty good. They had Kobe Smulders back as Wonder Woman. Actually, they did a funny bit with Wonder Woman in this movie where they had like the three different, like they had the mini brick and the Duplo and the mini dolls, like all the same. They got a pretty good laugh out of me.
That was funny. I like how they played with like there's multiple versions of each character in Lego form in this, and I don't know. I think it's more of that whole they're expanding their, here's all of what Lego has to offer.
Yeah, well, I think that also
multiple versions of the same thing.
Yeah, that also just sort of speaks to the whole element of the movie where the two worlds between the brother and the sister coming together. So it's like the sisters' handling of characters is a lot looser than like the brothers were like, they can just have multiple versions. Well, that's not entirely true because one big plot element of the movie is one character being two characters. Actually, we haven't mentioned that character at all yet.
Dangervest.
Rex Dangervest. Yeah.
So okay,
who's just every Chris Pratt character ever.
See, okay, so that's Kyle was going on about a lot of movies these days, which I don't disagree with him about. A lot of people having twist villains.
Mostly Disney.
Yeah, it is a lot of Disney. I can honestly say I didn't see the twist of Rex Dangervest being Emmett from the future.
Yeah, I didn't really expect that either.
I only, like, looking back, it should have been obvious, but I honestly thought that, to me, having Emmett and Rex together and being voiced by the same character, I thought was more of a play on Chris Pratt's career.
Exactly.
Where it's like Emmett is the Parks and Rec Chris Pratt, while Rex is like the new action movie Chris Pratt.
He had chiseled good looks under baby fat.
But I mean, when they introduced him, he's like a space adventurer and a raptor trainer and
a cowboy.
So, which so I thought it was just like a joke on Chris Pratt's career, but like when they said, "Oh, I'm you from the future," it's like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense."
I'd hate to say it, but I saw it coming a mile away.
I guess if you're kind of used to a lot of movies doing it nowadays, yeah, you should just generally assume that. But as far as how they handled it, I would say they handled it here a lot better than a lot of other movies that do have done that twist.
Yeah, and I kind of like it how Emmett turns out being the bad guy, because it's like the Queen has that song in the beginning of the movie, which I want to talk about how this movie is like a pseudo musical,
Yeah, just kind
and where
of.
Batman even calls him out on it.
Music does play like a big part in this movie, but yeah, we can get
Yeah,
back to that.
because I remember them saying like a year ago that the sequel was going to be a musical, and I was kind of dreading if that was going to be the case, because I'm not a big fan of
Yeah.
musicals.
That's how epic Mickey 2 was. It's gonna
Right.
be a musical. I'm out.
But I think I was okay with the amount of music they put in here, because it wasn't like every few minutes it's a
Obnoxious.
song.
No, they only
there's
had like there's the Queen had like just 2 songs in the whole movie, and then they had like the one big group one, and then other than that, they just had like tracks that played, not like characters that were actually singing it. In
So
the movie.
it wasn't too egregious.
It was as much of a musical as like Tangled was, which I remember only having like 3 or 4 songs. Like it wasn't
Yeah, a
a full
little
blown musical like Frozen or something.
Right. So I think it was fine, and I like that they even like make a song that's literally just called Catchy Pop Song.
This song's gonna get stuck inside you. This song's gonna get stuck inside.
Hey, god damn it, it has.
I think they did like an ad on YouTube that would show up that was like just a 5-hour loop of that.
Yeah, they did.
I mean,
Jesus.
it's effective.
But yeah, like I was saying, I like the fact that Emmett turns out to be the bad guy in the end, because the Queen does that whole song in the beginning where it's like, oh, she's obviously gonna like has ulterior motives,
Yeah.
and it just turns out like, no, she's literally trying to unite their worlds, and Emmett's the one being the asshole.
Yeah. Well, by extension, it's
A lot of
the
the times-
brother.
A lot of the times when they do something like that, it makes me wonder if they actually had it planned out, or if it just kind of became that way in the writing room.
Only because it's Lord and Miller. I feel like they're very meticulous the way they plot stuff out, or at least the way they write things. So I feel like that was the plan all along.
I mean,
But
see once the Blu-ray comes up,
Yeah.
they'll talk about it.
Unless
there.
there's a commentary, it's like, oh no, that we just kind of came up with that after a while, after the story kept developing. Like, oh, wouldn't this be a fun thing? But I don't know. To me, it seemed intentional.
Yeah, most
yeah,
likely.
Speaking of Scud the Disposable Assassin,
Which we were speaking about before we hit record, just for anyone listening.
Rob Schrab, the creator of that comic, was supposed to be the director of this movie, and I think he dropped out or something. I don't know. Whenever they say, "Oh, this person's gonna direct," it's almost immediately they're gonna fucking drop out for some reason.
Yeah, that was
Don't
pretty
know.
disappointing to me when I think they announced that because they're still developing another spin-off called like the Brick Race.
Oh, the Million Brick Race.
Yeah, and I think they announced
Jorge Gutierrez was gonna direct it, but
Yeah.
he dropped out.
and they dropped out, and that sucked. I was like, oh, that would be, I'm like dying to see him put out any more movies. So like,
I think he said he's working on an animated film for Netflix, and I
thing.
think it's supposed to come out in like 2 years.
well, I'll be looking towards that. I really want to see. He posted about doing a sequel to Book of Life.
He's been talking about that for years.
Yeah, I know. He keeps on talking about it. I want it to happen.
I do too. I love Book of Life.
I remember he kept posting on his Instagram. People were like, "Oh, look, it's a Lego thing or of you or something like that." He
Yeah.
kept posting a bunch of Lego shit, and then just like, "Oh, I'm out." I don't know.
It's just too bad.
Oh
like-
well.
Just keep whoever's directing it a secret
Mm-hmm.
until they drop out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, announcing the director is going to drum up interest in the movie, and so I get it. But yeah, it sucks to like get all these expectations about what you're going to get, and then like, oh, that person's not even part of it anymore. It's disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Although, since we did bring up the directors, I don't know anything about the actual director of the movie, Mike Mitchell.
I don't
but
even know who it is.
the animation director voiced Velma in this movie.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Velma pops up. for
Yeah,
a
she pops
second.
up for like just a second, but like I found that out later that the person that fielded all the actual animation direction voiced
that's
Velma,
funny.
which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, because when she popped up, I was like, all right, is it gonna be? I because she was only on screen for like a split second, so I
Yeah.
couldn't really
Trisha
nail down
Gum,
who
that's her
voiced.
name.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out. It's like, is it gonna be Linda Cardellini from the movies? Is it
Yeah.
gonna be her
That's-
voice actor for the cartoons right now,
That's what I thought it would have been. Oh, Kate Micucci.
or Kate Micucci? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Kate
honestly,
Micucci is technically in this movie because Garfunkel and Oates does do the remix of Everything That's
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was funny. I feel like this movie, I don't think did. I don't know. Do you guys feel like they did more or less, like, cultural references?
I feel like
the-
less. It was more story oriented.
Yeah, it was definitely more story oriented. Like, I think if you're gonna, it was more self-referential to Legos as being Legos, but not towards the actual like pop culture stuff that. they might
Yeah.
have. Yeah, no, I would say the first film kind of got a lot heavy. There were a lot more heavy with the references than in this one.
Yeah. I did like one like pop culture joke towards the end of the movie, where Rex is trying to rebuild the time machine. He literally takes the flux capacitor out of the DeLorean,
yeah.
breaks
And
down Bill and Ted's
time
thing,
machine, the TARDIS.
the TARDIS, and then he's like, "Oh, in this hot tub,"
Yeah.
which is like such an obscure fucking reference to make. No kid's gonna understand hot tub time machine.
Yeah, but it's a lot more recent than the other one. Well, no, I guess Doctor Who technically. Anyway, I'm sure there's enough people that get it.
I didn't get to see who was the doctor that they depicted.
They did.
I don't think they showed it. I think
was-
it was just the TARDIS.
TARDIS?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, because like Doc Brown was there, Bill and Ted were there, but I don't think they showed a doctor. It's
they
just the
did.
TARDIS.
I'm sure there would have gotten a lot of complaints of people that are like, "Oh, why didn't they put so and so as the doctor?" Blah blah.
Yeah,
blah.
because
Like,
he's changing so much, so it's like the movie's immediately dated depending on which doctor you put in there.
yeah.
But well, so it's like
Were the Bill and Ted and stuff like that, were those dimension sets, or that was just a random...
Doc. Well, I know Doc Brown is and Doctor Who are because I have both of them. I don't think they've
They
ever
have
made
sets
a Bill.
too?
Yeah, there's Doctor
Like
Who
my-
sets. I think there's a Back to the Future. Like you can build the DeLorean and there's a little Doc and Marty
Yeah.
in there. I don't think there's a Bill and Ted set as far as I'm aware.
I thought there was for Dimensions. I
There's
thought
not.
the
There's
vehicle
not. There's
was
not a
like
Bill and Ted for Dimensions.
Is there not? I could have sworn
No.
I saw it somewhere before.
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
I miss Dimensions. I wish they kept doing it.
I mean, everyone dropped off of the Toy of Life thing like all at the
It's
same time
true.
and immediately. Like, I mean, well, Disney did, and then Lego did, and then Disney did with Infinity. I don't know if they're still doing
Skylanders is the
Skylanders.
first. Yeah, they're
Yes.
doing it as a mobile game now.
Everything's
well,
going mobile game now.
good for
It's
them.
fucking weird because it's still got that ugly ass Spyro. That's the main character.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that Netflix show is still going for Skylanders.
It's fucking weird. Now it's
Where
like a
fucking
Mega
Crash
Man
Bandicoot
Sonic
shows
thing.
up for an episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a little weird.
It's like a Mega Man Sonic thing where he's got like different versions now of himself.
I guess. Yeah, there's a Spyro multiverse.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it's just joining the pantheon of things that can exist in two different things at the same time. Kind of like, did you guys see the trailer for the new Child's Play?
No.
yeah.
Because the thing that's interesting about that is that's Child's Play is Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Bride of Chucky, all those movies, but they've been doing sequels to that series like as recent as like a couple years ago, and they're developing a TV show for it right now. Like the original creator and like the person who plays Chucky and them, they're all involved in the TV show, but then the rights holders, because they hold the rights to Child's Play, not Chucky, but so they're rebooting it like in the theaters, but while this TV series that's still extending the original series is still going on. So it's kind of like that in a way.
I
Weird.
saw
That's
that. I was like, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
That's strange. But yeah, I think the Lego Movie 2 is a really solid sequel. I think I hate to say this. I think this is a more solid sequel to the original than Incredibles 2 was to Incredibles 1. I don't know if that's even a
agree.
fair comparison, but
there was a lot of weight between the two Incredibles movies, so expectations for that one were a lot bigger.
Higher than this one where they waited like 4 or 5 years.
It was actually, I think the first Lego movie came out 5 years ago in February, and Lego Batman came out 2 years ago in February. So it seems like they try to go for February as the big Lego release. But I think Ninjago didn't, but these three.
Yeah, because that was so weird. Where they waited like 2 years between Lego Movie and Lego Batman, but then they put Lego Batman and Ninjago out in the same year.
I mean, that's not entirely unheard of. I mean, Pixar has done like years where they do 2 movies. Like they just get really confident in their output. Like
it's not so much that it was weird that Warner Brothers was putting out 2 movies. It's that Warner Brothers was putting out 2 Lego movies.
Oh, yeah,
what was weird to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great, but
now that the Lego Movie and Playmobil movie and all this shit's going.
Oh man, are you guys gonna do the Playmobil movie?
Maybe, I don't know.
Now, Warner Brothers.
Really hoping we're gonna see a trailer for Playmobil movie in front of Lego
Dude,
Movie
I was
2.
waiting for it. It's like, look at this more shittier version of the movie you're about to watch.
Now we're getting a Funko movie.
Are we really?
From Warner Brothers
honestly,
as well.
I'm waiting for that to be announced.
Oh.
Because I'm surprised it hasn't happened already.
What the hell would they even do for a Funko movie?
They have announced it.
The Funko movie?
Yeah.
I had not heard about this.
They've shown concept art. They've shown all this stuff. Like Bob Ross is gonna be in it.
Oh
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's very alarming.
I guess they're just gonna go the same route as a Lego movie, just like load it with all the licenses they have, and just fling it against the wall, see what works, huh?
I guess.
Oh man,
It's like I have a problem with like Disney using Princess Leia stuff now that Carrie Fisher's dead, because it's almost like they own her in a sense. But it's like seeing Bob Ross in the Funko movie. It's like that's fucking him, and it's really weird that that's his license and that's his legacy in a sense, and they're using him post-mortem.
Well, that's him as like a Funko Pop, though, right? I think with the Disney thing with Princess Leia, it's like they're trying to digitally puppet them around like an actual person. Like it's kind of a different situation.
Well, that too, but they're also selling like toys, action figures, and shit with their likeness.
Well, yeah, I mean that's like an important character in the myth, though. So I mean, of course, they're not going to stop doing that.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Hey, it's just the nature of the business, man. I mean,
that's what you do. You sign your life away.
Yeah, all your life.
Like
That's not your life, man.
But yeah, Funko movie. It's being made by Warner Brothers.
Fun times, everybody. Well, I don't know. I for all these like, oh, here's a property we own, we're gonna take it. I mean, fucking Ugly Dolls is being turned into a movie, which I forgot was a thing.
I saw there was a trailer for that in front of us. So
there was.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's the Lego movie proved that you can take a toy that has literally no plot to it and make a decent movie out of it. Now, I don't think anybody else has really proven that they can do it as well, but I at least wait to see a trailer before I make judgment. So, who knows? Funko being made by Warner Brothers, maybe it'll be good. I don't know.
I mean, Warner Brothers, I'm assuming it's going to be the animation group, like WAM. So their track record is pretty good. I mean, if just the Lego movies alone, pretty good.
Because they've done the Lego movies. They did Storks, which I didn't think it was bad. It was just okay.
I heard it was generic. I think they did Smallfoot recently, didn't they?
Yeah, and I heard that was like pretty much on the same level as Storks.
Yeah, they did just announce, and because we were just talking about Spider-Man earlier too, but they did talk about they're going to do a Batman Beyond movie. That's going to be sort of their answer to Spider-Verse. I'm excited for that. Like just on the.
I actually heard a counter report that that's actually not happening.
Is it?
That was just was just a rumor getting spread around.
No!
I mean, I'm equally as bummed out. That would have been awesome to get an animated Batman Beyond movie.
Maybe they leaked it as sort of like a feeler to see like how people would if people wanted it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe.
There are a ton of people that would definitely like that.
I mean, I'd be down.
either way, I think we're still getting a sequel to Lego Batman at some point, though. So that's what'll tie us over.
Yeah, I think Lego Batman 2 would do pretty well. And honestly, I'm wondering like what's going on with this Million Brick Race movie, and I'm kind of surprised that they haven't announced more movies. Maybe they're waiting to see how this movie does. And I heard it's actually underperforming a little bit so far.
Yeah, so
I heard it's tanking.
I wanted to ask you guys about this because when I was talking with my friends and a couple people like on Discord that were like about the movie, like, you know, hey, do you want to go see this? And like nobody knew it came out this weekend. Like nobody.
Well, it's because they haven't really. At least I feel like they haven't done a lot of advertising. I didn't start seeing advertisement for it until like the last like month or so.
Yeah, like it was weird. The only sort of advertisement that I saw for it was I follow a channel on YouTube called First We Feast. They do the Hot Ones show, and they did like a little crossover thing with the Queen, and there was like a character on there, and they had the host Sean Evans as like a little mini brick dude, and they did like a little 2-minute like version of the show that they do, but with that character, and that's pretty interesting. But that was like the only indication that I got that the movie was like coming out soon.
Yeah, I mean, I only knew it was coming out because I like these Lego movies, so I follow the news for it.
Yeah.
Well, I feel the same way with the Dragons movie, because Dragon movie is coming out, and
that's next week.
I haven't fucking known anything
it.
about
Yeah,
that.
JD's got the hookup. He already saw it.
I did have the hookup, so I've seen it already, and I feel bad. I kind of want to see it again because I think there was a part in the movie where I dozed off for about 5 minutes. That is not an indication of the movie. It's because I think I was just really fucking tired that day.
It happens.
But so yeah, look forward to that review coming soon, everybody. But yeah, so I think this sequel, the Lego Movie 2, did exactly what it needed to do. I think it's a very good sequel to the original, and I'm very curious as to how Warner Brothers is going to keep this up. If like what kind of Lego stuff they're going to be coming out in the future.
I really do hope business picks up for this movie because I would hate to see the series stop just because of, you know, it's under. I mean, like it's definitely going to make back its budget. It does suck that it sort of underperformed in its opening weekend, but I do hope they keep on making these because I mean they're genuinely delightful films. Like in a sea of generic like animated movies, like these are you know they stand tall as being like, you know, very entertaining.
Yeah, my only concern for this, like, picking up in business is because Dragons comes out next week, so it's going to have 2 competing animated films. But, yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this will, pick up. Because Dragons is very good, as they all are, so, I mean, you got your choice of quality, everybody, so, I mean, you can't really go wrong with either one, so...
Just go on like a cheap day or theater and see both of them.
Yeah, exactly. Take in a matinee show where it's cheaper and just see both.
It's double feature.
There you go. Make that work, everybody. All right. Well, is there anything else you guys want to mention before we head out today?
I have plenty to mention, but
all right.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
I did have a few things I wanted to bring up.
Sure.
Because when we were mentioning the cameos, I forgot to mention the Bruce Willis cameos in the movie.
Oh, the fucking Bruce...
Which were the best in the movie. Like, those are worth mentioning.
I am so mad that the fucking marketing people ruined that cameo for me.
They did?
Because the day before I went and saw the movie, they put out this little advertisement. It's like, look at our fun cast. And it's like, here's Emmett, here's this character, here's Bruce Willis crawling an event.
Oh, that sucks. I still think
the joke where she's like, look, if I take off my hair, do I look like Bruce Willis? It just cuts to Bruce Willis in a hot tub.
That was a good bit. I think the bit in the vet was better just because, you know,
it's like, I don't live up here, I'm not homeless.
Yeah. I don't live in here. That was a really good bit.
I love when celebrities can take the piss out of themselves doing that kind of stuff.
Speaking of another celebrity, she didn't do any voice work for the movie, but this movie did feature Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh yeah,
that's like
so fucking random, man. It's just like a bridesmaid for the queen. It's like, why?
Yeah, which I did look up, and Lord and Miller did reach out to her to see if she wanted to be in the movie, and she let them use her likeness, but she didn't want to do any voice work. So I'm like, it was funny that she was in there at all. Like,
She's like, man, I got enough Supreme Court shit to deal with these days.
no shit. So there was that, and then I did want to bring up that because the first movie, like for the live action bits, they had feature Will Ferrell as the man upstairs. So they didn't have Will Ferrell on screen this movie, aside from a flashback to the first movie, but he did do some voice recording, and it was always stuff like off screen. I mean, Lord Business is not even in the movie that much, but as the man upstairs character, he was always heard yelling off screen.
I actually kind of like that because they like make where he's like going off to golf, so he's like not being involved this time.
Yeah.
And I just love where she's like the mom, which like Maya Rudolph being the mom like came out of fucking nowhere. It's like, holy shit! I
expected another SNL type to be like a live action character in this movie, so I wasn't sure who. But when I saw like, oh yeah, no, that's definitely the best choice I could have made was Maya Rudolph.
But yeah, I just love where she's like, it's like she yells to her husband off screen, yells to Will Ferrell off screen. Is like, can you help me with this? And he just like yells like really not helpful. It's like, listen to your mom. It's like, you heard your father's helpful contribution.
He was probably too busy with Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
I kind of did want to see that though, just because it was Will Ferrell and John, and I wanted to go anyway. I heard it was bad.
People were saying it's like the worst movie they've ever seen.
Yeah,
I know, it was disappointing to hear.
And I do want to give Lego props for finally acknowledging how painful it is to step on Legos.
Was it just below childbirth?
It's like just below childbirth, but it's like right here. And even loving the fucking end credits where they like have like, here's the actor's name next to the character they voice.
Will Ferrell's in a speech bubble.
It's a speech bubble, and then Maya Rudolph is just a foot.
That's stepping on the Lego, yeah. Oh, so speaking of the end credits, that was like the last thing I wanted to bring up was the end credits, I believe, are all, because in the first movie, the end credits were all done with just stop motion, I believe, so they continued that with this one.
Yeah, that was one of the other things I wanted to bring up. Yeah, it's like this big
amazing credit sequence.
Yeah, it's just like this big moving wheel with all these like undulating parts and stuff, and it's really kind of impressive.
Yeah,
just the scale, like, because you could tell the scale they built this at.
Yeah, it was just like enormous.
Yeah, it's this enormous like spinning wheel, kind of like how Animal Crossing has like a rolling log effect.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's built up like that, and it's kind of impressive to watch.
And it takes up a good part of the credits, like at least
dude,
half of the credits.
Like, I feel like you have to stay through at least 3/4 of the credits.
Yeah.
If not to hear the Lonely Island singing about how awesome the credits are.
Yeah. No, that was another bit that made that just amazing. Was like the song is just talking about like how the voice actors have it easy because they only have to work like 3 hours in total on the movie, and then like they're praising all the animators like by name as their names show up on the screen.
Yeah, I love just like, oh my gosh, that guy's my favorite producer, and then the producer name comes up. But the last thing I wanted to mention was I thought it was really funny, or like kind of touching, because I didn't realize that this was a thing they did, is they had people like brothers and sisters or just siblings send in Lego creations, and they featured them in the credits, which I thought was really sweet.
It was really cool, but I made sure to note this right as I saw it because I did not want to forget about it. But were you paying attention to any of the kids' names? Because one of the pair there, their names are Justice and Honor.
Thank you.
Like, holy shit! Like, how fucking cool! Like, what are their parents' names? Like, it was amazing. Like, I marked out so hard when I pointed out to my friends. I was like, "Do you see their names? Like, holy shit!"
Okay, so I want to say this, and I mean this in the least offensive way possible. You notice that those are the black kids, right?
I don't notice race, JG.
Yes,
I just notice awesome names.
Okay, those two kids were the black kids, and my wife worked in an inner city school, and those kind of names would not have stuck out at all. Because it's kind of just, I don't know.
They're awesome names.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought that was rad when I saw that. It's like, because it's all these like weird like French kids and just these generic names. There's like Justice, and I'm like, that's rad.
It was really cool. That was like the first note I made. I was like, I need to make sure that we talk about this. This is like the podcast. Just need to talk about it. I need to bring up Justice and Honor. Like, well, that was
Justice and Honor. Those kids are gonna go on to do great things.
God, yeah.
The cam rip I saw cut out the.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Well, so there you go, everybody. That's the Lego Movie 2. Please go see it. It's a good. It's a good.
The reason why it's underperforming.
Yeah, Kyle's part of the problem. Be part of the solution.
Go see the movie so we can get some
Go
more
see the
great
movie. Do a
Lego
double
movies.
feature with Dragons, which we'll be talking about next week. So there you go. So thank you guys for being here. I know it's been a while since we've had a show, but I'm glad we finally got this done.
Thank you for having me again.
It's in the making.
Yeah. And thank you everybody for bearing with us, and we'll catch you all next week.
Or in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
It's up
you
to
never
Katie.
know, really. Bye, guys.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Ink and Paint Club podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can catch a new episode every week. Also be sure to follow us on our Facebook and Twitter so you can keep up with the show. Links are in the description. We'll see you next week.